This video, I patched these two pieces of sidewalk. That piece I used a real fast drying cement and covered it with mud. And this piece I used traditional Portland cement and sand, and then I covered it with mud so it wouldn't glow and match. This is what it looked like before I did it, and this is what it looks like after I did it. And I'm going to explain some different techniques at the end. Well, today we're going to patch this concrete up. See, it's all pitted right here. And before I talk about it, let's just look at the rest of the driveway. This was poured 20 years ago, all with different times, and it may be a couple different suppliers. So concrete in Pennsylvania, this is 20 years old, has a deadline to it. I'm going to explain that more as I go, but now we're going to go back here and look at this patch. Now I'm going to fix this patch up. I'm going to do two sides. This side I'm going to do the new school way. This side I'm going to do the old school way. I'm going to explain as I go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to broom all this stuff out of here as best we can, like that. I'm going to get the wire brush, go over it like this. All that loose stuff out of there. It's not bad. We gotta get all the loose stuff out. The first thing we gotta do. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is get some of this rapid set mortar mix. I'm only gonna mix up what I absolutely need. It's just a few trowelfuls. So I add my water and I mix up just like that. Then I'm going to get my water and I'm going to spray it. It has to be wet first. With this kind of stuff, if it's not wet, it's not going to stick. Rapid set, you don't have to paint it with Portland first. Just put it in. Just make sure it's wet. I'm going to get my rapid set. See that? I'm not going to make a big project out of it. Just get it in. Like that. Then I'm going to get my water. If you don't have a sponge float, which I forgot, and you put it in, you go like that, you flatten it out. Now because this was a broom finish, you can rub the broom over it just like that. You don't want to make a big deal out of it. Just like that. As you've seen before, I come over to my dad's garden and I get some mud. Now we're going to do the mud trick. Remember we got the mud in there? And I add some water to it. Just like that. And stir that mud up. Yes, sir. Stir that mud up pretty good. Get some of the local stuff if you want. That's what's going to make it match. See that? That's mud. That's what we want. And before it dries, I'm going to paint that mud on. Just like that. That's going to hide that crack. Comprende? Paint the mud on. Just like that. It's going to stain that. Got a little more work to do over here. That's it. We're going to let that sit like that with the mud. And we got a little piece there. Same thing. Wet it up. Put the cement all in. Hide that crack. See? No big deal. And just sponge it up a little bit. Paint it with mud. Just like that. Right here, doing the same thing. Just wet the corners. Putting it in. Make sure it's in there good first. And then just kind of form it. Like that. Just like that. Kind of form it in so it looks like the rest of the sidewalk. See that? Your water and your sponge. Go over it again. If you want to broom it, you can broom it. Whatever you want. You get the mud, paint it right over the top. So for the second mix, I'm using Portland cement. Type 1 or type 2, don't much matter. I'm going to go, this is my mix. I'm going to go full one of Portland, and this is Masonry sand. I'm going to go 1 and 1.5. That's going to be my mix. Mix it up dry. See that? Mix it up dry. Add my water. And mix it up. Now this is about the consistency I want it. Next thing I'm going to do is take this Portland, put it in here, and I'm going to make a paint out of it. See that? That's the Portland right there. I'm going to add some water to it, just like that, and I'm going to make a paint out of this. See that? I make a paint out of it almost like a milkshake. I put the camera back there so you can kind of see what's going on. This one we're doing with traditional cement. This is the way the old timers did it. Like I said, you gotta wet it first. First thing when you're doing stuff like this, you have to wet it, or it's not going to stick. Now this don't apply in every case like block work or brickwork. That's a whole different story. What we're doing here is we're putting in a patch. I got it all wet, not too wet, but wet enough. Next thing I'm going to do, get myself some of that Portland. Get that Portland, I paint it on. That's an old school bonding agent. That cement will work right down in those little grooves and hold that cement on. That's why I'm doing this. Just like this. Paint it all with Portland, and then it's got to go on wet. Then we put it on right over the wetness of the Portland. Just like that. See that? Just like that. Now down here, we got two different heights. It sank about quarter inch. So what we want to do is kind of make it come up a little bit. We're going to take our little straight edge of a level here, kind of straighten out. So that matches a little better. See that? So now, we got pretty well straightened out. Like that. And then make sure it's still wet. Continue on. Paint it. Paint it with the Portland. There was no bonding agents when we were young, right?
No.
They make all this stuff up and they make money off of it, right? That's all they do. That's it. We keep going. Continue on. Got to make sure that everything's wet before you paint it with the Portland. It's got to seep down in there. See that? Just make sure. Get your Portland. Paint it on. The old school bonding agent. See that? Gets down in there. It gets down in there. I know that cement's going to stick to that. Then we get it all in, then we got to kind of play with it a little bit, dress it up so it all fits. You get a lot longer with this stuff than you do with cement doll, but this is screwed up, so I'm going to do the same thing, just patch that up too so it matches. Little Portland, little cement goes in there like that, then gotta come over here like this, and then we get our edger. You see the edger? We kind of want these to match a little bit. Just go over that like that. And we're going to have to keep going over it because this is Portland. It takes a long time for it to dry. It's going over the spots like that. Up here, it's drying already. They put a broom finish on the other one. So I'm basically doing the same thing. Just brooming it. A bad spot there, move over it. See that? This is drying pretty quick up here. Kind of want it to match. You got to bring the juice up. And we're going to let it settle up. An hour and a half later, we're back. See, the top looks like it's drying. The bottom, you get expansion cracks because it's so rich. That doesn't happen when you use the fast drying cement because everything comes at once. So now we're going to disguise this. I'll show you how we do it. We're going to go back to the mud trick. And this is still drying, you see it? So we're going to wet it again. longer kind, by nature, the longer, see that's sucking in there. Concrete isn't waterproof. Don't let anybody tell you concrete's waterproof. It's not. So we're wetting it up again. Now because this is traditional cement, it's got shrink parts in it. See it? You gotta get the shrink parts out. Just like that. You get the shrink marks out just like that, you do it again. Brush it again. That's because this is traditional cement. Thing on this side. We'll get the shrink marks out. Just like that. We're ready for the mud. Now we put the mud on. You get a soft brush. You get the mud. And you start putting it on. Just like that. That's going to hide all those sins. Keep going. Put the mud on. Just like that. That's going to darken that. Make it look old. We'll come back later on. Take a look at it, see how it is. Well, I came back the next day. I'm going to sweep this off of here. See what it looks like. Sweep it off like that. Now we're walking down here a couple hours after we washed it. Let's see how well we disguised it. Well, the new school stuff ain't too bad. It's a little whiter. The mud trick, you can wash it, maybe wait a couple days, but that's the end result of it. I'm going to talk about this job a little bit. Where I live in northeastern Pennsylvania, I don't like to pour concrete driveways. The weather kills them. They got ice picks, snow shovels, they're throwing salt all over it. My dad's been pouring concrete for 70 years. He has a blacktop driveway. My brother's been pouring it for 45 years. He has a blacktop driveway. Me, I just have a dirt or gravel or modified, as you call it. So I don't like pouring it. Driveways get killed. That's a perfect example of it. But if you want a cheap fix, a cheap patch, this is what I do. Now, new school is fast drying cement, and they just came out with this within the last 10 years. I've been using it 5-6 years, and it's good. Boom, you're in there for an hour, you're gone. With the old traditional way, where you use Portland and cement like I was using it, it's an all-day thing. You gotta put it in, and you gotta come back because it's gonna shrink up. If it's real strong, it's gonna shrink up, and then you gotta do it again and do it again. And maybe the next day it's gonna scale a little bit, and you gotta patch that up. Now, the mud trick has been around forever. Leonardo da Vinci got commissioned one time to take a brand new statue and make it real old. And what did he do? He rubbed mud all over it, let it sit there, let it sink into the marble. Same thing with this. When you paint this with mud, it stains it to make it look old. And that's what we're trying to do, so you don't have a big blinker. If you ever go around and you see big patches somewhere because someone didn't disguise it. So that's what that is, the mud trick. I have other videos out that deal with, one is resurfacing a concrete sidewalk. I got a series on that. Another one is concrete steps repair. I use the same techniques for that kind of thing. I have another one, how I resurface a concrete driveway, and I do it the old-fashioned way the old-timers did during the Depression. Concrete in this area don't last. I appreciate the person that sent me this shirt. They didn't have a return address, so I thought I'd wear it. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And a patch is a patch is a patch is a patch is a patch. That's all it is. It's something where you're filling a hole, where someone don't trip or over it, or you're painting it, where you're disguising it so it looks new. It's a cheaper way of doing things. If I have an affiliate site with my tools, it'll be in the description box. Thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate it. I hope it's saving you some money and some time and gives you a lot of food for thought. Thanks for watching. I'm Mike Haduck. Until next video.